So I'm just taking a quick walk around, the surrounding area, because I always like to get a feel of what the area's like. Would I want to live here? What is it like? How clean is it? What are the people like about? Are there amenities nearby? All that kind of stuff. And it looks pretty nice, really nice area.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a bit different. I'm doing something that I haven't done before. It is a vlog. I've been saying in my recent videos that I'm looking to pivot towards a BRRR strategy. That's buy, refurbish, refinance, rent. Basically where you get a property that's tired, in need of a bit of a light refurb or a heavy refurb. You do the work, it goes up in value, and you pull your money back out and you go again. I recently went up north 180 miles to view some properties to start this strategy on, and I'm taking you guys with me. I recorded everything. I recorded the journey, I recorded the actual viewing, and really importantly, what I decided to do after seeing the property, and I'm here to share it with you. Before I do that, guys, my name's Warren. I am a banker here in London and a property investor across the UK. My goal is to live free and independently from property. So I'm looking for £3,000 per month in income from property. If that's what you're looking to do, if you're looking to live independently and free through property, subscribe. That's what my content is all about. So let's get straight into this, because that's what you're all here for.
So I'm about halfway into my journey. I've got about another hour and a bit left. What I'm thinking of doing, I was originally going to go straight to the hotel, but I'm going to do what I normally do when I get to cities that I'm looking around in, and that's just go to the actual property first, have a look around the area and get a feel of it, because it's still daytime, as you can probably see from outside the window. It's still light, and I like to get a feel of what the area is like, especially the road itself, where the property is, during the day and at night. So I'll probably jump in the car as well in the evening and just go through and just see what it's like. Are there any people just loitering about? Are there crackheads? Are there a lot of people with just nothing to do, or is it just nice, safe, calm, like a nice area? So I want to get a feel of it. You know what a nice area is, you know what it feels like to feel safe on the street at night time, and you also know what it's like to not feel safe, those ones where you get off the bus or you get off the train and you run to your front door. And I've lived in areas like that, by the way. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to get there, have a look around. I'll try and give you a look as well. I'm not looking to really get out and go walking around, because I don't really know the area that well, but I'm just going to be in the car, cruise around, see what it's like, and we'll go from there, and we'll go to the viewing the next morning. So I am just getting off of the motorway and coming into town, and this is more towards the centre of town. There is a university just straight up ahead. You can see it there on the corner, big grey building. Centre of town actually looks really nice. I'm gonna turn around. It's a dead end this way. So one thing you see a lot of up north are terraced houses. So you can see them on the left and on the right as we drive up here. A lot more than in London, there are terraced houses in London, but it just seems like the volume and the proportion of the total housing stock up north is much more terraced than it is down south. If anybody knows why, let me know in the comments. Yeah, very similar when I've been to places like Crewe, Doncaster, Manchester and Liverpool. Manchester and Liverpool changing now, because I'm seeing that they're building a lot more flats and development complexes, kind of similar to what you see in London. That's been something that's been happening over the past 10-15 years in Manchester and Liverpool. And we're just a few minutes away from the house now. So as we're driving through, as I said before, I'm looking out for what the area is like. So are there amenities? Are there shops? Are there bus links? Is it clean? What are the locals like? Are they on their way to work? Or are they just hanging around? Does it look like an area where, there's poverty and there's deprivation and there's not a lot to do? All of this stuff you're looking out for, and you really want to think as if you were somebody who was looking to move to this area or to a house in the local area. Would you want to live here? Yeah, so that's really what I'm looking out for as I'm driving through. So this looks like a pretty residential area. We're just coming up to it now. You can see some nice houses, some nice semi-detached houses nearby. There's a school nearby, and we're literally on this road here. You can see a co-op coming up on the right hand side, so that looks good in terms of amenities. It's clean. Yeah, I'm liking the look of this, guys. But now I'm just going to turn around. Yeah, again, these side roads here, they look nice and clean. Ain't a lot of people loitering about. People are at work. You've got a hairdresser just here on the right, on the corner. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if that's a pub on the left. At the end of the road here, this is a salon and a restaurant that we've just passed. Yeah, this looks like a decent area, guys.
So that was me snooping around the area. It's always a bit weird for me walking through an area with a phone to my face like this, vlogging, with people looking through the windows like, who is this guy who's not from here, walking the streets, filming himself and making videos? But, you know, it's all part of my journey, so I'm sharing it with you guys. I like what I saw. The next day was the viewing, so let's get into that. So this is the reception room. The wallpaper is a bit outdated and it needs modernising, so I'd strip that off and paint it white. Having to play with the electrics to see if there's an issue. They're not working, maybe the electrics just turned off, but I always like to have a flick on with the light switches to see if they're working. This is the kitchen. As you can see, there's other people on the viewing, so she invited a few people along at the same time. Turning on the taps to see if the water's running. If it doesn't, that's not a problem. It might just be switched off, but it's always a good sign when you turn on the water and see water coming out. I think the hot water's off, but plumbing seems okay. Going upstairs now. 2 rooms upstairs, that's all that's upstairs. 2 fairly large rooms. This is the first one. Again, I would take all of that wallpaper off, repaint, and also change the carpet. It looks a bit tired. Maybe change that heater as well. Second bedroom. Both good sizes, by the way. So right here you can see some what looks like mold. The paper is soft and it's coming away from the wall. They're black dots, so that's going to need some treatment. Also some in this corner as well, so that's going to need some treatment as well. And that would lower what I'd consider offering for the property, because you don't know how far and wide that mold is, but treatable, guys. Again, some other people that have been invited to the viewing at the same time to drum up interest and a bit of competition there. Cupboard in the room, which is good. The storage. Back downstairs. That's the agent in the yellow. Third family. Looking in this box now, yeah, to look at the electricity box, looks fairly modern, so that's a good thing. So that reduces the likelihood of having to do a rewire, and also the gas box looks pretty modern and new as well, so a good sign for gas and electrics. Unlikely to have to do a new one. Now I'm going to look at the boiler. So guys, a quick bit of advice speaking from my own experience. When I go to these properties, I have a really good idea already of what I'm going to pay, what my maximum bid is going to be, what the costs are going to be involved, legal costs, broker costs, refurb costs. I am numbers and data driven. Why? Because, as I said at the beginning of this video, guys, I'm all about building my wealth, making a return and making money from these properties. I love the whole experience of refurbing properties, finding deals, but ultimately it's about building wealth, and you have to be numbers and data driven. So what I use, guys, is my dashboard that I've developed. I plug in just a few simple numbers into this dashboard, and what it does is it churns out all the numbers that I need to know. It has the key metrics such as the profit that I'm going to make per year. It has the returns in percentage numbers, gives me a breakdown of my purchase costs and the mortgage aspect, so how much I'm going to pay per month in mortgage payments and whether it's going to pass or fail the criteria for mortgages. And also, as we'll talk about further on in this video, comparables. Am I overpaying for this property compared to comparable properties? My golden rule, guys, is never overpay for a property. Ideally, you want to underpay. So check out the link in my description below. That's where you can find this dashboard. And now back to the video. Again, looks like a modern combi boiler there. So I doubt the boiling would need replacing either, because you know that can be quite expensive if you need to. Bathroom looks good. I mean, I'd repaint. Not a fan of the blue. I'd put in new sink and toilet and bath, just a new kitchen unit really, just to modernise it, because people do like bathrooms. Bathrooms and kitchens are what really sell a property, guys. So I'd replace those. And taking a look outside in the garden. Big garden, which is nice. And the agent did say that it's rare to have a garden this big, so I think this is a good selling point for the property. But again, that garden needs work, it needs clearing. Overgrown. I'd probably pave it as well. I'm not a fan of pebbles in a garden. These are the sheds. Maybe further down the line you could even do something with these sheds. Take those out and do an extension to the house.
Could potentially do something with this.
I'm gonna look inside what's in the actual sheds. That one's empty. This one full of clutter. A lot of clutter there. Okay, back in the house now. Again, replace all of these worktops. I put in a whole new kitchen. Back to the bathroom. Now the windows here, they are single glazed windows, and from memory this is throughout the house. So I think that would be quite a cost there to replace all of these single glazed windows, because you really want double glazed new windows.
So guys, I'm on my way back to London. Just did the viewing. Viewing went well. There were three families, including myself, viewing. So the ladies obviously booked us all at the same time. I think to drive up a bit of
competition, guys. Turns out it's hard to drive on the motorway and film a video at the same time. Don't recommend it. But yes, the agent booked several viewings at the same time. I think there were 3 different families, as you could see from the footage. 3 of us, 3 sets of families, all viewing the same property at the same time. Now, this is a tactic that agents do use sometimes to make you make a bid out of emotion rather than numbers, rather than cold, hard numbers. They want you to go above your maximum bid price and think that there's more competition than there might necessarily be in reality. So be So be aware of that in the back of your minds when you're viewing properties, guys. Now me, I always pepper the agent with questions. They must get fed up with me. But why, guys? This is really important because it's going to help you to tailor your offer and make an informed offer on the property. Yes, you've done your research. Yes, you've used a tool. Maybe it's mine. Maybe it's something you've done yourself. To do the research and have a firm enough idea of your maximum bid and the costs involved. But you also want to ask actual questions, because the agent, they know the seller, they know the area, they know information that you don't have, that you can't get the full picture from desktop research. You have to go to the area and ask agents yourself. So I asked the agent, first of all, what the circumstances were for the seller wanting to sell the property. Now, she told me that the owner was looking for money. Basically, she said, and I don't know how this makes sense exactly, but she said that he bought a new property and he still owed money on that property. Now, I don't know from experience how you can buy a property and still owe money on it. Usually, what I've seen 99.9% of the time is you pay everything in full because it's a legal transaction. I've never come across that, but maybe there was some nuances that she was missing out. Anyway, what I got from that is that the guy needs money. He's a motivated seller, right? So that's going to help me tailor my offer. I asked her about the area. So what is this area like compared to the rest of Stoke? You know, Stoke, and nobody will shoot me for saying this, it's not London. It's not an affluent, vibrant, cultural part of the UK. I mean, there is culture there, of course. There's a long history there, but it's different to London. It's different to down south. It's more working class. And, you know, related to that, I said to her, you know, once work has been done, because there's some work to do on this property, and I'll go over that shortly. What is the ceiling rent? So if you do the necessary stuff, you know, you make it look nice, you replace stuff, you put in new units and that, what is the ceiling rent? So the ceiling rent is basically, you know, the rent above which you're not really going to make any more money regardless of what you do, right? So she said it's £495 per month, the ceiling rent of this particular area. Now, some of you, like I did at the time, are going to probably be falling off your chairs, right? £495. You compare that to London, a 2-bed house in London. You're starting at least 1,300 in most parts of London. So yes, there is a huge differential between the north and the south. Part of the reason why I invest up there, it's more affordable rent-wise and property price-wise. So £495 ceiling rent. Are you, let me know in the comments below, going to go overboard with a refurb? Now, when I say overboard, I'm talking about finishes. So, you know, special materials used on worktops, expensive tiling, you know, expensive flooring, all of that stuff. Or are you going to do the basic stuff? Obviously, you want it to be smart, tidy, clean, safe, and all that stuff, but you're not going to go overboard for £495 per month. Now, if this was London, where the expectations are higher and people are paying higher, yeah, you might think towards, okay, how can I differentiate this property and really add some extra touches that are going to basically drive up interest and also drive up the rental price. But the ceiling price is £495, so you're not going to go overboard for that. So that was really good to know, really good question to ask. And then I asked her about comparables. Now, this is an important question for me to ask because I really want to know whether similar properties and properties on sale generally are meeting their asking prices right now. Now, this is when her inner sales agent came out and she started laying it on thick with the chat. So her pitch to me was, this property that we're looking at right now, which you've just seen in the footage, it only has one reception room / living room and then a kitchen. Most of the other properties in that area have a reception room as you come in, then a living room, then a kitchen. So this property effectively has one room less. But don't fear, she said, it's okay, because the thing is, most of those other properties with the reception room and the living room, people tend to use a kitchen and they come and use the living room, but they don't use a reception room. So it almost becomes a redundant room. They don't use it as much, and over time it becomes a dumping ground for stuff. So rather than, you know, being a nice house whereby all of the rooms are used, they use one of those rooms and the reception room really doesn't get used and stuff just gets left in there. Now, the added part to this, which I haven't told you yet, is that even though the property we were looking at had one room less, it was still priced at a similar price point, asking price, to most of the other properties in the area with the two rooms, a reception room and a living room. Can you see an issue of this? Let me know in the comment section below. The issue is, guys, is that if I was to meet the seller's asking price, I would effectively be overpaying for this property. I am paying more for a property with one less room. Now, what people do with that extra room really doesn't matter. It has no relevance or bearing on the actual price in terms of what the property is worth. You know, valuers, banks, they don't care about whether people use that extra room as a dumping ground for their bike, their clothes that they don't wear, furniture. It doesn't matter, guys. It doesn't matter. You need to pay, always pay, my golden rule, pay what the property is worth, never overpay, ideally underpay. And that's why it's so important to do granular comparisons into comparables and ask these questions from local agents, right? To really get to the crux of whether you're going to be overpaying or underpaying. So what did I do based on that, guys? So I came home and I did a bit more research. I looked at the comparable sold prices for properties that were exactly the same as the one I was looking at. So properties with one reception room / living room and then the kitchen. And what I saw, guys, was that within the last 12 months or so, the similar comparable properties were selling for about 10k less than what his asking price was. So I bid accordingly. As I said, guys, I am not overpaying for this property. And guys, to be frank with you, it is difficult to underbid for a property. First of all, we feel embarrassed about underbidding. We feel like we're doing something wrong. I think that's almost like a default human reaction. Someone's asked for something and you're giving them less than what they've asked for. But when it comes to property, guys, you have to be numbers driven. And parallel with the tactics that the agent's using, she's invited, you know, groups of other people to view at the same time, so you feel like you're in competition with them and you feel like you have to bid higher to actually get the property. And also she's tried to sell me on the fact that it has one less room and that's actually a good thing and it justifies the price implicitly, which is nonsense. So I underbid, guys, by a certain amount and I got rejected. So I've gone in low to begin with. I have a ceiling price and I've gone in below that and I've let the agent know, okay, fine, he's rejected that. This is my ceiling price. And I mean it, that if he does not accept this ceiling price, I'm walking away because I'm not overpaying for this property. What do I think is going to happen? Well, it's been on the market for a few weeks. I think he might sit on it for a while. If somebody overpays and meets his asking price, fair play to him. That's great for him. He's gotten a great result. He's received more than what the property is worth. But I don't think people are going to meet his asking price. When they look at that property and they see that the state that it's in, because there's work to do. There's work to do to the kitchen. It needs a new kitchen. It needs a new bathroom. The mold needs treatment, the garden needs clearing, it needs painting and decorating throughout. Yeah, it's not going to cost a bomb, but this is all work that needs to be done. When people see the property and they see that work that needs to be done, and then they look at the price and they say, hold on, I can get a property with an extra room that doesn't need all of this for near enough the same price, they're going to be like, it's overpriced. And I think he'll be sitting on that property for a while at that price. I think he's going to eventually lower the price if he doesn't go with my offer, which of course he should. So that's where I'm at, guys. I'm going to keep you posted along the journey. Whether it's this property or another one, I'm going to get a property and I'm going to bring you along for the refurb stage as well. And you're going to join me for this whole journey. So let me know if you like this video, if you want me to do more of these. If you did, drop a like, guys. Subscribe, comment for the algorithm, push this out there, and I'll see you guys soon.